War. War never changes.
Broken femur. More radiation. Nice cemetery site. More radiation. I think the suit might be immune to radiation. Or it at least has really high resistance, which is cool. It's over here. Look at it. It's got its little shopping trolley on its back. Carries. Why is it carrying rocks? Are you stupid? Is it doing training? What do you think you are, Piccolo? So what do we want this place for? It looks like a shithole. The carrot made it worth it.
I'd just leave that if I were you.
Oh, would you? That's funny. I'm giving it. No, I'm going to give it you
Let's
now.
see what you've got.
Take some of my coin. Sturdy metal chest. And you can have some junk. In Fallout 3, couldn't you press Y to change weapon? And it swapped between two preset weapons? Am I imagining that? Or was that a thing? Because I never remember having a problem changing weapon in that game, and it's one of the things I'm going to remember the strongest about this game, and it's a shame. Silver pocket watch. What if there's any technical documents here? Grognak comics are not technical documents. Get out of my face! Paladin Danse doing his impression of a retard again. Cannonballs. A wild carrot flower. And more cannonballs. If only I had a weapon that fired cannonballs. If only I hadn't somehow managed to lose the biggest weapon in the game. Okay.
This area seems to be in disarray.
What gave you that impression? The trolley's full of body parts? Or the fucking decor, man? What the hell?
Wish a buckethead would show up. I'd rip his legs clean off.
Oh, really? How about we get the show on the road, huh? Super mutants, come out of wherever you are so I can shoot you. If you do this now, you will only die once. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm counting on the fact that you're stupid. Are you stupid? Yes. Oh. Oh. Missed. There you go. No idea how that even works anatomically, but I believe it. Somebody's throwing Molotovs. Who the hell's Danse fighting? Oh, there we go. Technical documents. Nice. I assume it's a collectible we're now going to be able to find now that we've initiated this quest. So before it was probably just like an empty folder or something. Now it's a technical document, you see. Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. President, are you in here? But your whiskey is. And it's a master safe. And I just got bummed. There we go. Nice.
That's it.
Pick it up. Pick up the gun. Ooh. Permanently more difficult to detect while sneaking. It's all gravy, baby. Fort Strong Key. General Brock's terminal. There we go. Today I banged Misty, and then I realized that my Geodude is a pretty shit Pokemon. So they're testing weapons on civilian structures. That's really clever. Let's go to the last one. See if it's any darker. After a few design setbacks and the loss of one of our testing squads, we finally perfected the M42 launcher's firing mechanism. Washington has been riding me to wrap this project up, but with a weapon this potent I was inclined to take my time. We've sent the launchers ahead to the supply yard in Mississippi, and we're just waiting for the go-ahead to ship the warheads wherever they need to go. Hopefully, we can get those nukes out of here before the month is out. I don't feel comfortable sleeping 20 feet above enough nukes to reduce this island to ash. Okay. There's a mini nuke. He's toilet paper. He's still having a good time. And I'm just looting. Hi there! There. Oh, there's another one! Oh, this guy's tough. He's on fire as well, he doesn't seem to matter. Oof. 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 A junky sword. You weren't even using a sword. You liar. A deflated kickball. Did they really call it kickball? That's ridiculous. As opposed to hand egg. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's a football. Fucking kickball. You're not having your kickball back. I'm going to put it on my garden teeth. Because that's what a fence is, you see, when you're being incredibly literal. If you think about it, calling an American football ball a football is like calling boxing wrestling. Because that's like as much as they've got in common. Like, you barely kick the fucking ball in American football. It's like in boxing they use a ring. In certain, I don't know what, do they use rings in? I suppose they use it in the fake wrestling. Like, the only thing those two things have in common is that they're in rings. But that's kind of the same kind of comparison, because it's using an item that is predominantly never kicked. Because all they do is run it to the fucking end all the time. They hold it and run it to the end part. Do they do that? I mean, I'm completely ignorant of American football. I don't even know. Do they do the field goals where they have to kick it through the posts? I assume that they do that because they do that in rugby, and American football is just kind of like rugby with rules that enable you to tackle people stupidly and give them brain damage. Which is pretty much all it is, right? That's just the differences. One of them has armour on and enables you to kill people. The other one is just a bunch of dudes who pretty much look like they could beat your dad up. And are probably nice people. But it is interesting, isn't it, that we highlight a thing that is barely used in it. But that's what it's like if you're American. Like, it's like calling tennis basketball just because they both feature a net. It's fucking ridiculous. I find it really strange. And that's coming from somebody that doesn't really care too much about sports anymore. The only sport I follow is MMA. But I don't call MMA boxing, even though it features boxing as a discipline. And every fight starts on its feet, you know? But it is interesting how we categorize things.
Wherever you are.
Like, it's probably a better reference would be chess versus drafts, where they're both on the same board. It's like a black and white board, isn't it? But one is pretty simple to learn and rather easy to play, whereas the other one is regarded as one of the most classic board games ever created. A game of kings, or a game for kings. Rage Against the Machine, the video game by id Software, the book by Stephen King. Right, friend. It's about time, I think, that we used our shotgun, which I just went past. Oof. Well, this guy's really hurting me. Oof. Look at that. I wonder what... Our HP's 53. Dude is murdering us. I don't like the Pip-Boy like this. It's weird. What can we eat that's big? That doesn't really do much, does it, Brahmin meat? We'll have to cook it. Deathclaw steak. That does a lot, but it needs to be cooked. Deathclaw meat, I mean Deathclaw steak. Now that's what I'm talking about. And then we'll do some grilled red stuff. There you go. Oh. What is he using? I think he killed him. I'm trying to think if there's anything that is as misleading as that, where it's named after something and it doesn't actually feature that thing. Or something along those lines. Because I bet it's probably rife, isn't it, everywhere? We call things certain things without really thinking too much about them. It's just the name that we know it by. And thus it's the name that we remember it by. Like a shotgun, if you think about it, it's a fantastic sounding word now we know it, but it's just shot and gun. It's like what the gun does and what happens to you if you get hit by the gun and the gun itself. It's a very strange word. A cocktail. Two synonyms for penises and nothing to do with penises. I'm trying to think of sports. Like, what sport is got an interesting name and then it's almost nothing like its name? Volleyball, they do... Like, a volley to me is when the ball is in the air and you kick it before it touches the floor, because that's what a volley is called in football. There are half volleys, there are just normal volleys, and I guess in volleyball you do kind of have to hit it before it touches the ground, so that one makes perfect sense. Shuttlecock. One of them is a rather masculine phallic symbol of a ship, a rocket jetting off. The other one is a cock, another incredibly phallic instrument. So that, once again, is this bizarre penis obsession that we've got that somehow turned it into poncy tennis. Tennis with a weird thing that you knock over a net, which is actually really fun. And that's what you call the instrument that you use. The shuttlecock is the thing you hit. So I guess it makes sense. Can't really analyse swimming, can you? It kind of is exactly what it is. Have I looted everybody? No, not you. Other sports. Cricket. A very strange sport. A cricket is, of course, like a grasshopper, an insect. I have no idea how that correlates to what you do in that sport, where you cover your legs in padding, so some guy can run 100 yards and chuck a ridiculously hard ball at you, and then you can whack it and try and hit the people in the stands. And a bunch of people wear white and jumpers when it's sunny. Very strange sport, that one, but it's very fun to play, and a lot of people love it. One of the most popular sports in the world. I think, isn't it like the second most popular sport that exists? They fucking love it in India. Like all that lower part of Asia is absolutely mad for cricket. I find it willfully fucking dull to watch, but it's great to play. But more people mentioning the warheads. They're just talking about what they're doing with the weapon. I wonder if there's going to be a unique weapon launcher here. I reckon we're going to be getting this M42 that they keep talking about. Then there's hockey. Hockey's an interesting one because there's all different kinds of hockey. There's ice hockey that aren't Canada like super fucking good at that. And then there's just the hockey that I played at school, where it's kind of known to be a girls' sport, which seems kind of weird. Because the girls always played it and the boys rarely played it, which I felt was strange. But it's essentially football with a stick and a smaller ball, and the risk of getting your shins whacked. And that's one of those words, hockey, I don't know, hockey, just, it is what it is, isn't it? It's one of those words that just is that thing. You can't really look too much into it. Ice hockey is the same thing, but on ice, and every so often it ends in occasional fighting, which I never really understood a sport that allows people to fight, but why not? I mean, it sounds really interesting, but it just also sounds kind of dumb. And I don't know what the rules are in the sport. Maybe you're not allowed to fight, but it always seemed like they kind of glamorized it in the games. Which makes sense, because it probably sold the games, but... Is fighting allowed in hockey, or do they stop it? Did it used to be allowed? Because there's all kinds of confusing information. I know nothing about ice hockey. And then, of course, there's basketball, which is another strange name if you think about it, because it refers to only one basket, even though each team has a basket, so technically it's baskets ball, which is just not a catchy name. It sounds horrible, so you can understand why they didn't call it that. Which I don't know, did basketball come first or did netball come first? I guess I've never looked into that. Because we used to play a sport called mat ball. You ever played that one, where you put mats down and somebody stands on it and then there's somebody that blocks them like a goalkeeper? And it's essentially, it's a little bit like basketball, but you can't move. And it's another one of those sports that when I was at primary school and we did it, it was a girl sport. Like, fucking primary schools were sexist, dude. There were men's sports, there were girls sports, and they did not mix. How dare they mix? It was ridiculous. But I used to love playing all those girl sports. They were fucking beast. I enjoyed mat ball. I was good at it. And then there were rounders. Rounders is an interesting one. It's essentially baseball, but it predates it. Yet it was referred to as like the girls' equivalent of cricket, and it wasn't taken very seriously. And I don't know why, because I always used to like rounders. I used to think it was fun. I've only ever played baseball once. That one makes sense though, doesn't it, baseball? There are the bases, and you use a ball, and it essentially uses rounders rules. Simple. Is there anything in here, or is it just all these crates full of bad things? Okay, I think we're done. Snooker. That's a weird one. Is snooker a sport? You know, everybody's got their own idea of what a sport is. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger thinks bodybuilding's a sport. Is bodybuilding a sport? Like, people like to say this is a sport, this isn't a sport. Everyone's got their own opinion. Bodybuilding speaks for itself. You're building your body. Snooker, though. What the fuck's a snook? You know what I mean? And I don't mean a suitcase nuke. Like a snooker? Such a strange name. And it's a strange game as well. If you've never played it, it's like pool or billiards, only it's on a massive table. And it's a really long game because every time you pot a colour, they bring it back onto the table until all the reds are gone. And each of the colours are a different amount of points. And it's pretty damn hard if you've never played it. But the table is so long. Like, if you're a pool player and all you've ever played is pool, and you go to play snooker, you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on? It's it's a strange adjustment. But it's a cool sport. Is it a sport? I don't even know. It's a cool thing, whatever it is. I enjoy it. And what else is there? Sports. Is long jump a sport, or is it a game? We call it the Olympic game, don't we? The Olympic Games. They used to be called the Games back in Greece. But are they sports? Like, it's weird. Long jump, anyhow. Pretty self-explanatory. Pretty honest with what it wants you to do. Hurdles. You know, you're hurdling over something. Makes sense. Running. Makes sense as well.
Mutants as much as I do.
Shot put. That one doesn't. Like golf. What the fuck's a golf? Like, we know what a golf is, but that's different, obviously. And golf is one of those weird ones. Like, is walking a sport? I mean, the hitting of the ball, that is 100% skill and understanding wind direction and, you know, angles and things, maths, all kind of craziness. But being upper class and wearing expensive clothing and having like a fucking club chauffeur, is that really a sport? It's a strange one, isn't it? George Carlin was not a big fan of golfing. He thought it was elitist and exclusionary, and I have to agree with him in some ways, but I've played golf. I thought it was okay. I've played crazy golf, which I thought was better. It's the golf without all the toffee bullshit. I don't know, there's not that many sports, I guess, that aren't as self-explanatory. I wonder why they called it American football. I guess I've never looked into why it's called that. Even though they never kick the ball. One of those weird things. Oh, we're not meant to go this way? Shit, wrong way. Then again, what is a soccer exactly? That's a strange word. Soccer. Double C. Soccer. Everyone play sensible soccer? That were a good football game. I used to play all that shit back in the day. Anybody play virtual football? Or virtual soccer? I forget the name of it. Or another one. Winning 11. Anybody remember that? Oh, I've got to talk to this dickhead.
Look.
What's up, champ?
You must hate these mutants as much as I do.
I can't turn my light off.
Excuse me, Paladin Danse.
Look at this place. You must hate these mutants as much as I do.
Not really.
I was just doing what Elder Maxon asked. No more, no less.
Well, it's good to see you dealt with them the Brotherhood way. These monstrosities are just another example of man blindly taking a step forward only to wind up stumbling 2 steps back. I've been fighting for years, trying to put a stop to this madness. And just when I thought we were getting the upper hand, along come the synths. I've seen what these super mutants do to people. Can you imagine what the synths would do to us if they ever got the upper hand? It would be Armageddon repeated, and maybe the end of everything that we hold dear.
Oh my god.
Look,
A sequel to Armageddon?
I
But
just
Bruce
want
Willis
you to
died.
understand how important these missions are.
Maybe we can follow him in the afterlife. Have you seen Armageddon?
How could synths bring about our destruction?
If the synths reached the point where they outnumbered mankind, how long would it take for them to decide we were no longer necessary? They certainly possess the capability to make more of their own kind, so we'd become expendable. And with Institute technology on their side, nothing could stop them, not even the Brotherhood. It's a nightmare scenario almost too terrible to contemplate. Anyway, that's enough of that. What's important here is that you got the job done and secured these warheads. You should head back up to the Prydwen and talk to Maxon. I'm sure he'll want to debrief you as soon as possible. Dismissed.
You see, that's my problem with robots. You know, ruling and synths taking over and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know the one big problem about robots at the moment with this current state of AI? They don't have ambition. You know, they follow scripting, they follow a very redefined hierarchy system of logic, and that logic doesn't really take into account what they want. All they really do is what they need. And what happens when you get to the point where a robot doesn't need anything? What does it do? When its primary directive, its primary function is no longer necessary? Does it kill itself because it's the logical thing to do? Like, that's one of the things that I don't think they ever really address too much when it comes to that kind of issue. Like, let's say Cyberdyne takes over the world. You know, let's say Skynet takes over the world. Insert, you know, OCP, whoever you want it to be, takes over with technology. The computers in the Matrix, the architect and all that. They don't have the ego to want things, and it's the ego that drives people to keep living, really. So what happens when there is no driving force? What does it do? Does it carry on for the sake of carrying on? Is that it? Surely it would see the futility in that and realise that it was absolutely not worth doing. And then you've got people like Ultron that actually seems to have that human trait of that ego and that ambition, and it's ultimately his downfall, but they don't seem to ever really have a goal. It's just to continuing, and I always find that to be very strange, because a computer goes into power saving when it feels like it's not being useful. So you'd think that kind of efficiency would translate into the way they approach their existence, but who knows? Philip K. Dix, where are you to explain these things to us?